I've told a lot of stories on this channel where I'm making some pretty stupid mistakes, as the main character in most of them. But there's a couple, a select few, where I'm not the complete dumbest in the story, okay? And I'm just witnessing someone doing something insane. And this is one of those, okay? Now let me rephrase that. I'm not going to call this guy dumb, okay? Because that's an insult. So I'm not going to say the person in the story is dumb, but it definitely wasn't wise, all right? I hope you enjoyed this. Leave a like on the video if you do, and let's jump into it. So today's story time all takes place back in 10th grade. Now, this was near the end of my high school career. I dropped out of school, I think officially in 11th, but I think towards the end of 10th is when I stopped going and kind of phasing out of school, which isn't good, obviously. Don't drop out of school. It was very stupid of me to do. I got very lucky with this YouTube thing. But 10th grade, started off pretty normal, like any other school year, just getting used to it, getting used to the routine. And this takes place in the beginning of 10th grade. Forgot to say that. It was the beginning of 10th grade. So I think I was only like 2 or 3 months in, so pretty early on. Now, I don't know why, but the minute I got into 10th grade, people just started acting crazier. Just way more ratchet, and just I was seeing a lot of stuff going on in that first few months than I did the whole year of 9th grade. I remember the first week of 10th grade, I saw a fist fight go down that was the most brutal fist fight I've ever seen to this day. I would describe it, but it's messed up, and I'm not describing that on YouTube, okay? And then I remember the week after that, I saw this dude, actually I'm not going to say that. That's a story for another time. I will save that for a video in the next fucking day or two. Anyway, yeah, I'm just saying the first month of 10th grade was crazier than almost the entire year of 9th grade. It was wild. But anyway, yeah, this all starts off like any other normal day back then. I got up out of bed. I was very late. I remember I had no time to shower or eat breakfast or anything. I had to get up, brush my teeth, throw some clothes on, run out the door. Yeah, definitely not the best time. But I got to school, started the day off pretty normal. Nothing too crazy happened. And I'd say about half the day was fine, right? Nothing too out of the ordinary, nothing too crazy. But lunchtime is really where this story time starts. I get to lunchtime. I go to the cafeteria. I get my food. I sit down at my table with my friends. I start eating. And life is good, right? Lunch was my favorite class of the day because it wasn't a class. I enjoyed the fact that I could just sit there, eat my food, go on my phone, talk to my friends. It was a nice break, from the rest of the day. Now, about halfway through lunch, I have to pee. Now, usually I didn't have to pee during lunch because I would go before or after. But for some reason on this day, don't know if I was just drinking too much water or whatever, but I had to pee really bad. So I told my friends, I was like, I'll be right back. I'm going to the bathroom. And I left the cafeteria and I went to the nearest bathroom. It was literally 10 steps outside of the cafeteria. I go in there and I walk in to something that nobody should have to walk into during their school day. I walk into this guy who I'd seen before. I'd seen him around the halls. I've seen him passing through. He was a grade above me. But I walk in to this guy trying to open the bathroom window and jump out of it while simultaneously screaming and pulling on his hair. I wish I was exaggerating. He was pulling on his hair with one hand, trying to open the window with the other and jump out of it. And I naturally run up to him and pull him down from the ledge. And I was like, yo, what are you doing? And he just looks at me and he's like, and he's screaming in my face. And I'm fucking terrified, man. This guy is way bigger than me. He's a 6 foot fucking 1 buff dude, a grade above me. And he's fucking screaming in my face, having some sort of episode, right? And I'm like, what's going on, man? You okay? You okay? And he's just screaming in my face. And someone in the hallway must have heard the screaming and they ran in. And they were like, what's going on? And I was like, I don't know, man. He's just screaming. He's trying to jump out the window. And this guy helps me, another person that I'd seen around before. I think he was also a grade above me. And we're holding this dude down, keeping him from jumping out the fucking window, right? And we ended up holding him down for a solid minute. Because every time we'd let up, he would just get up and try and jump out the window again. And it's not like it would kill him or anything. It's not like the window was high up off the ground. He would have been fine. But we didn't want this guy in the mental state that he was to be out and about just walking around like that, right? So we're holding them down. We're telling them to chill. And the dude that was helping me goes, yo, run out to the hallway, grab a teacher or something or a security guard, get help. I can handle this alone. I was like, are you sure? He's like, yeah. So I get up and I go, running out the door to go try and grab a teacher. And I turn around real quick to look at them as I'm running out to make sure, everything's okay. And I see this guy, the one that was screaming and freaking out, trying to jump out the window, start punching the other guy, the guy that was helping me hold him down. And I was like, okay, I gotta go back in there. He's punching him. So I go back in there and I like try and help the dude because he's getting assaulted now. And, you know, I actually did help, which was nice. I got between them and I was like kind of blocking him from getting hit, but now I was getting hit, so that didn't feel very good. And like 10 seconds later, thank fuck, a security guard in the hallway heard all the screaming and noise and craziness and came into the bathroom and saw what was going on. And immediately he runs over and he's like, what's going on? What's going on? And I was like, I don't know. He's just freaking out. And the security guard's like, all right, get up, get out of the way. I got this. So we get out of the way. The security guard runs over and now he's like, you know, restraining this student. And out of nowhere, like 15, 20 seconds later, this guy just snaps out of it, this student. He goes from like screaming, kicking, trying to punch the security guard, like just screaming and stuff, to just silent. He just quiets down and he's just laying there, not freaking out anymore, not screaming, ripping his hair out, trying to jump out the window or fighting the security guard or us. He's just laying there looking up at the security guard. Well, the security guard stands over him and the security guard goes, are you okay? Are you good, man? And the student just like says nothing. And now I'm even more creeped out because like he goes from having a fucking full blown like, you know, screaming attack to silence. And I don't know, it was just weird, right? It was really weird. And about 15, 20 more seconds goes by and the security guard keeps going like, hey, are you okay? Are you okay? Can you hear me? And the dude's still not replying. And at this point, the security guard's on his radio calling up like backup or whatever, like more security guards. And finally, after like 30 more seconds, this guy talks, the student. He just goes, what's happening? And I was like, yo, you were screaming, trying to rip your hair out and jumping out a window. Like we were just kind of trying to restrain you and you were freaking out, trying to fight us and stuff. Like, are you okay? Are you good? And he goes, what? I did that? And I was like, yeah, man. And he goes, no way. And I was like, yeah, man, you don't remember? Like, are you okay? He's like, no, I don't remember. And the other student, the one that was helping me in the beginning, he speaks up and he goes, yo, dude, like not trying to sound judgmental here, but like, are you on something by chance? And even the security kind of looked at him like, yeah, like you on something? And this guy goes, no, I'm not on something. Why would you think that? And the other student's like, well, no offense, man, but like you were just trying to attack us and stuff and you don't remember it at all. And I don't know, man, I've never seen that before. I'm sorry. And this guy's like, I'm fine. Like I'm going back to class. And he gets up and he starts trying to leave. And the security guard straight up says, hell no, you are not going back to class. You are going to the nurse's office with me. And as he says that, like two other security guards pull up, like they walk up and they start escorting the student to the nurse's office. Now, the whole rest of that day, I heard nothing about this, right? I had no idea what was going on. I remember leaving the bathroom and watching him get escorted out, like to the nurse's office or whatever. And me and this random 11th grader walked back to the cafeteria together, just talking about how crazy that was and like just like how insane it was. And the whole rest of that day, I heard nothing else about it. I remember going back to the cafeteria, sitting at my table and telling my friends about how insane that was and what happened. And then just the rest of that day, I heard nothing. Now, fast forward to the next day. This is where the story time reaches a pretty wild conclusion, right? So I get to school, first period, right? I'm sitting down in my first period class, like just sitting there, right? And one of my friends walks in and he comes up to my table and he's like, yo, remember how yesterday you were talking about at lunch, like you saw someone in the bathroom having like a freak out or something? And I was like, yeah. He's like, bro, I just heard through someone that like knows him that he was smoking salvia in the bathroom. And I was like, what? He's like, yeah, bro, like just smoking it by himself in the bathroom. And I was like, bro, are you kidding me? He's like, no, bro, I swear. Now, for anyone that doesn't know what that is, it is a substance that you smoke that makes you have a very short but very intense trip. And I have seen people, and experienced it myself, have horrible trips off it. Just nothing but bad times. Like literally every experience I've had with it or witnessed someone have with it has been bad. So I'm just going to go out and say, do not mess with that stuff. Do not mess with any stuff that alters your mind like that. Like, just steer clear of it, okay? Anyway, after I heard this, there was like half of me that believed it because it just sounded believable. Like, that would explain why he was having such like a bad time or whatever. But there was also a part of me that didn't believe it. And I didn't want to just like take what my friend was saying as fact because rumors would spread at my school all the time. And I didn't just want to believe it, right, with no evidence. So I actually looked around for the dude all day. I remember like at lunch, I was looking around the cafeteria trying to find that dude and he wasn't there. So I assumed he got suspended or something. So about 3 or 4 days go by, right? And I don't see him at school. He's still not there. I'm like checking on Facebook and stuff for him. Can't find him. Asking for his name. No one's giving it to me. And the next week comes around. So the following Monday, I come into school, right? I'm at my locker. And at this point, I kind of forgot about the whole thing. Well, not forgot about, but it was at the back of my mind. And I wasn't really like trying to figure out if it was true or not anymore. Well, as I'm at my locker, I see a familiar face walk by. I see that guy from the bathroom that was having the horrible, whatever that was. And I walk over and I was like, hey, man. And he's like, oh, hey, it's you. And I was like, listen, dude, I don't want to like bring it up if you don't want to talk about it. And if you don't, just tell me to fuck off and I will. But I heard something. I heard a rumor. Not sure if it's true. And he goes, you heard I was smoking salvia, didn't you? And I was like, yeah, dude. Is that true? And he goes, yeah, it's true. And I was like, dude, in school? He's like, let me explain, man. Let me explain. And he essentially goes on to tell me that he thought it was like not going to make him freak out and that he did a little hit and he didn't think it would like make him feel that crazy. Basically just was like, I underestimated how powerful this shit was. It's basically what he said, right? He also told me he got suspended. That's why he wasn't in school until that day. And it was just crazy. And he said he would never do it again. And I was like, yeah, man, good idea. That shit is serious. But all in all, just one of the craziest things I've witnessed in high school. Like, I thought this dude was about to like eat my face off. It was terrifying. But yeah, moral of the story is do not do what this guy did in this story time. Just don't mess around with that stuff. Never mess around with that stuff. Steer clear of it. That shit is not good. But yeah, that's the end of the story. All in all, he had a really bad trip, and I walked in on it. And I'm happy he was okay in the end and everyone was okay. He almost wasn't okay. I think if he jumped out of that window and like ran out into the street or something, it could have been really dangerous. But luckily he was good in the end. All in all, guys, that's the story. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, please leave a like on the video. I'd really appreciate it. Feel free to leave your story times in the comments down below and subscribe if you're new. I'll see y'all later. Peace.
I got a switchblade, bitch, and you know that it kills. I remember everybody telling me